Okay, here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Hey everybody, welcome back to or welcome to my channel. This is Kristen and you're on All the Stories, and it has been forever since I posted a video. It's been like 9 months since I decided to post a video, so sorry about that. But I have recently been inspired to start my channel back again. And thank you to all the new subscribers I've gotten and all old subscribers who stuck around through these 9 months of me being MIA with no explanation. I'm back and hopefully I am going to be posting content more regularly. And by more regularly, I mean at all. Um, so Okay, let's just hop into what I came here to talk about, which is the Black Booktuber Tag. I saw this tag video and I've sat here and watched all these amazing booktubers whose channels I love post this video. So I decided that I wanted this to be my first video back on Booktube. This tag was created by Reading Black and I will link their original video down below. So the first question is to tell us a little bit about yourself. I am a Black booktuber. I started my channel back in February, I think, of last year. It was either the end of January or the beginning of February, one of those. I am 24 and I have graduated from Auburn University with a degree in biomedical science. So, yeah. So, question number 2 is, who is a Black author that you love that a lot of people don't know about or talk about? Um, I had problems picking one because I feel like all the Black authors I read have been recommended to me by other people, so that by definition means people talk about them. There are not too many authors that I read that I just never heard anyone speak about, so I'm going to talk about this book that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, even though when it first came out it was kind of hyped, and that is Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. I really liked this book. I read it in February of this year and it was just really good. It was a solid debut. The cover for the second book just came out and it is stunning, just as stunning as this cover is, and I'm excited to get to it. I think it comes out in 2021. But this book is a African inspired fantasy novel about a girl who comes from this family of powerful witch doctors, but she has no power of her own. And then when an evil power comes calling, she is the one who has to fight this power, and she does it by doing this kind of sketchy ritual that gives her powers of her own that everyone tells her she shouldn't do, but she does anyway. And yeah, so she can fight this evil in the world, and it has to do with a lot of things. There are gods and demons and all types of things, but this is just a book that not a lot of people talk about by a newer author, so I'm gonna go with this. Question number 3 is your favorite book about the Black experience. So I kind of have two answers for this. The first one I want to say is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This was one of the first books that I like legit could see myself in. Like I could see so much of myself in Star, the main character, how like just her family dynamics and the jokes that are said, and how her everyone talks, and a lot to do with how she goes to a predominantly white school and how she feels like she's kind of living in two worlds. She has this white school and she acts one way at school and one way at home with her family and friends, and I can really relate to that, seeing as how I went to a predominantly white high school, and like I said, I went to Auburn University, which is a predominantly white college. So the whole code switching thing, I totally get that, and the fact that she really liked books. She was a big fan of, in the book series they talk a lot about Harry Potter and stuff, but it was just refreshing to see myself in a character when I haven't really related to a character as much as I related to Star before in a book. And another book that I want to talk about is a older book, and that is Their Eyes Are Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. Even though this book came out in like the 1930s, I could still see how relevant this book is today, and Janie's story of just how she is, just her life story is still so relatable today, even though this book was written years and years ago, and I can still see so much of Black community culture, like how her and the older women in town talked, and how the people were kind of just, it's just really still relevant to this day, in like the way people talk to each other and the struggles our main character Janie goes through her life. So I really think that the Black experience is represented very well in this still to this day. So question number 4 is your favorite book by a Black author, and this is a recent favorite for me, and I am so glad that I just decided to pick this book up on a whim at the beginning of this month. I actually just read this book earlier this month and fell in love. I can't stop thinking about it. Can't wait for the sequel, and that book is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. Oh my god, y'all, this book is so good. I just can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about this book every day. I was like, oh, this book is so good. Everyone, okay, maybe I should tell you what this book is about. This book is a Zulu inspired fantasy book. This is a Zulu inspired high fantasy novel. It is adult fantasy, and it follows our main character Tao as he is kind of training to become the best warrior alive. And it deals with a lot of things. It has a very rigid caste system in this book that consists of like basically hires and lessers. And Tao is a lesser, and he is trying to kind of become the greatest warrior so he can take vengeance on the people that were responsible for the death of his father. And there is magic in this. It is a fantasy novel. There are dragons, but even though the book is called The Rage of Dragons, the dragons aren't like a super important. I mean, they're important, but they're not actually very many dragons in the actual story itself. Um, and I'm not gonna get too deep into it, the magic system or whatever, but basically there are um, there are two types of magic. You have the female, I think they're called enchanters. Yeah, they're called enchanters, and they have three different types of magic. One magic is they can summon dragons. The other one is that they can push you into the spirit world where demons can torture you, and it's like mental torture, not physical torture, but it can drive you insane. And then there is enraging, which is the form of magic that involves a male, and you can enrage certain people who are like certain hires, but not everyone has the ability to be enraged, and it causes them to become bigger, stronger, faster, which really helps them in war because these people are in a perpetual war with this other clan of people. um but I'm not gonna get too much into that. But it follows Tao as he is training to become a warrior to avenge his father, and it's just so good, so good. I cannot wait for the second book to come out, and I'm kind of sad because I thought it came out in July when I read this, but then I checked again, and I don't know if the date changed or what, but now it's saying it comes out in freaking November, and what is life? So question 5 is to recommend a Black queer book. So for that, I will be recommending Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. This book follows our main character Felix, who is trans. It's a coming of age novel for Felix, him coming into himself and falling in love for the first time. The actual plot of the story is he goes to this art school and it has a summer program. So he is in this summer program and someone is bullying him, and they posted pictures of him before he transitioned, and they posted his dead name as well, and he's trying to figure out who has been bullying him, and they're sending him messages. And over the course of the novel, he kind of falls in love and does these things, and it's so good, and comes to terms with his identity and who he is, and it's just really, really, really good. And I recommend everyone pick this book up. And also, this cover is stunning. Look at it, look at it, look at it. Anyways, I highly recommend Felix Ever After. You should give it a try. Question number 6 is to recommend a book with a Black person on the cover. So I would love to recommend A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. However, I haven't actually read this yet. Don't judge me. But this cover is stunning. Look at how beautiful, and these beautiful black, and it's about black sirens. It's an urban fantasy about black sirens living in Portland. Hello? What? Yes. So I will be picking this up very, very, very soon, but it does have black faces on the cover and it is beautiful. But if I need to recommend something I actually have read and I actually recommend the story, it would be Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I recently read this one for Queer Blackathon, and it was so good, so good, so good. I'm pretty sure you've heard about this because it's been really popular recently since it came out last month. And it is about two sisters who do not know each other. Their father has just died in a plane crash, and they're both dealing with the grief. Bleh. They're both dealing with the grief of his passing, and in the course of them planning the funeral and going through their grief, they discover each other, and it was so good. And I also there's also queer representation in this. It's not explicitly stated if our main character is lesbian or bi or pan or whatever, but she does have a girlfriend, so there is queer. Ugh. I cannot talk today. This is what I get for not posting a video, and forever you forget how to freaking talk. Okay, so there is queer representation in this, and I gave this 5 stars. Elizabeth Acevedo does not miss when it comes to books. All of her books are phenomenal. This is told in verse, and I did listen to the audiobook and read along physically with this because Elizabeth Acevedo does narrate all of her audiobooks, and it was just beautiful. I highly, highly, highly recommend this book, and I also highly recommend listening to the audiobook for it because, like I said, Elizabeth Acevedo does narrate this herself. Question number 7 is to recommend a book by a Black author that makes you happy. And I have a lot of answers that I could use for this because I've recently been reading a lot of books by a lot of Black authors that have made me very, very happy. But one I'm going to recommend is the one I'm currently reading, and that is Take a Hit, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is, as you can see from my bookmark, I just started this yesterday and I'm on like page 50, but I love Talia Hibbert. I love Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, and I'm super excited. This just came out this week, and I am ecstatic. The first 50 pages have been really great, and as soon as this video is finished, I'm going to continue reading this, but this makes me happy, and I've just been smiling the whole time. And another book that I actually have finished, because I feel weird recommending books that I haven't actually finished, but one that I recently finished was A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole, which made me smile as well. It was so good. It gave me kind of like Coming to America vibes a little bit. And it follows a girl who has been receiving these weird emails saying that she is betrothed to a prince, and she doesn't really believe it. And then the prince shows up, and when he meets her, he knows that she doesn't know anything about him, and she doesn't know that she's betrothed to him. So he kind of starts dating her without telling her who he is. And it was just really cute, and I really enjoyed that our main character was a scientist because, like I said, I'm a biomedical science major, and I just enjoyed that seeing women in science just makes me happy in books. Question number 8 is to recommend some Black booktubers. There are so many Black booktubers that I would recommend. I'm just gonna throw out a few names that come to mind. Someone who I just recently started watching their videos that I love so much is Monet from Life is Monet. She does book videos, makeup videos, hair videos, and I just love her channel, her content. And I love Jocelyn from Jocelyn Reads, Mina from Mina Reads, Mayana from Mayana Reads. Those are just a few that come to mind off the top of my head. There are so many more Black booktubers that you should check out. So question number 9 is to talk about a book by a Black author that's coming out in 2020. Oh, there's so many. Y'all know the way I just raved about The Rage of Dragons, y'all already know I'm excited for the second book, which is called The Fires of Vengeance. And like I said, it comes out sometime in November. I want to say like November 10th. I could be wrong. I'll put the date, down below, you know. Another one that I'm excited for is the How to Catch a Queen by Alyssa Cole, which is a spin-off series from her Reluctant Royal series. And I think it's called not Reluctant Royals, obviously, Runaway Royals. I can't remember what the series is called. The first book is How to Catch a Queen, and it comes out in December. And one more book that I'm excited for, just, to name a few, there's many more, but is Ties That Tether by Jane Agaro. I just saw this book on Goodreads, and I read the synopsis, and it sounds really good, and y'all, this cover is stunning. Stunning, okay? So I really am excited to read this, and that's, also Legendborn. I can't remember the author's name. I'll put the cover here. I feel like there's so many others that I am forgetting, but those are just a few of the great books that I cannot wait to have in my hands. So that's, oh wait, there's another question. My bad. So the actual last question is to tag some Black booktubers to do this challenge. Actually, I don't have anybody on here who I really associate with to tag them, But if you see this tag, if you want to do this tag, do the tag. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you got some good recommendations or there's some books you want to try. And also all the books that I have behind me are also great if you want to read any of these wonderful books by Black authors. Highly recommend all these books. So that is it for this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!